In this video, I will be explaining about how to create the extruded cutout, file, new, ensure that the part design is checked, cancel this default template, enter the name of the file, press OK. Select the unit millimeter, press OK. Maximize this window, pick on the extrude, placement, define, select the plane, sketch. Draw a rectangle, press middle mouse button to deactivate rectangle. Now observe that the corners of these rectangle are free to move. To give the proper dimensioning and constraining, I need to start with defining the center lines. Pick on center line, draw the vertical center line and horizontal center line. Press middle mouse button to deactivate center line. Pick on the sketch, options, lock modify dimensions, say done. Which means the dimensions which I am going to modify now will get locked permanently and will not be easily modified, or the dimensions which cannot be dragged or manipulated. I have two center lines, one is horizontal, another is vertical. These vertices are free and don't have any relation with the vertical axis. Pick on constraints, symmetric, this vertex and this vertex to be symmetric about the center line. About the center line, this vertex and this vertex to be symmetric. The dimension is something different for these two lines, the vertical line and horizontal line. Let us make it equal by using equal constraint. This line to be equal to this line. Close. Observe the constraint here L1 and constraint here L1. The small arrow indicates these two vertices are symmetric about the vertical line, and the arrow here and the arrow here indicate these two vertices are symmetric about horizontal line. Specify the dimension 100 and note that the color of the dimension is turned to gray, which means this dimension is locked dimension. You cannot drag this, pick hold and drag this. You cannot pick hold and drag this particular vertex because the dimension associated with these two entities is locked. Press on done. Press hold middle mouse button and move the mouse to rotate the geometry. Scroll the middle mouse button to zoom in and zoom out. Enter the depth for the extrusion in this box. See to it that the front plane was the sketching plane and the rectangle or the square was drawn on that plane. That section was extruded in this direction to a depth of 100 mm. This direction of extrusion can be reversed as per the requirement. Pick on the options and note that the side one is taken as blind. Blind means we can specify the predefined value. that is called as blind depth. If the extrusion is required on the other side also, then pick on the blind for the side 2. Enter the depth of extrusion. With respect to this plane, the extrusion depth is 50 in this direction, and with respect to the same plane, the extrusion depth is 108 in this direction. Pick on the symmetric option so that the side 2 will get deactivated. About the sketching plane, that is the front plane, the extrusion depth is symmetrically divided. The depth of extrusion can be dragged by press hold of these grips and dragging the mouse. Scroll to zoom in and zoom out the model. Pick on the thick option to give the thickness for the extrusion. Now this particular rectangle is being extruded to a depth of 213 symmetrically with the thickness of 10 mm. Switch off the thickness so that the extrusion is solid. Preview the extrusion by using the preview button. Ensure that the extruded part is as per the requirement. If not, come back to redefining the section or the depth. Once it is found OK, press on Done. To make this extrude, a sketch was being used. This sketch was being created using the vertical and horizontal center lines, and the vertices are made symmetric about the vertical axis, and these vertices are made symmetrical about horizontal axis. The default datum planes were front, right and top. Now, since the extrusion is exactly perpendicular to the section, the faces which we can see here are also act as the planes for next extrusion. It is not mandatory that we need to have always select the datum planes for the extrusion. For example, pick on Extrude, Placement, Define. It is asking select a plane or a surface to define sketching plane. Select the surface. Pick on Sketch. Take the proper references from Sketch References. Pick on this top edge, pick on this bottom edge and pick on this left edge. It has activated the edges so that when an entity need to be created, it will snap to those reference lines. Enter the value, rotate the model to see whether the geometry drawn is as per the requirement. Press Done. Enter the depth for the extrusion. Now there are two extrudes, Extrude 1 and Extrude 2. We can find those extrude here, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. If I want to have a hole or a cutout on the top surface of this extrude, pick on the Extrude again, Placement, Define, pick on this plane, Sketch. Pick on the sketch reference, take the reference of vertical edges and horizontal plane. Close, draw the circle at the center of this model. Rotate the model and Enter the dimensions for the circular cutout. Press done. I want this extrude to be in the reverse direction, should go to a depth of 50 mm, and that has to be a cutout. This command is remove material. Once remove material command is picked, it will ask which direction of material to be removed, whether inside the circle or outside the circle. When we say inside the circle, preview, the circular cutout will be made in the previously made extrude. If the direction of the cutout is reversed, the material apart from the circle is removed to a predefined depth. For this instance, inside material need to be removed. This arrow represents the depth of or the direction of the cutout, and this value represents the depth of the cutout. This particular grip can be dragged dynamically to adjust the depth, or can be entered from this window. Press done. Ensure that there are three extrudes: extrude 1, which was a bigger extrude; extrude 2, which was a side extrude; extrude 3, which is a circular cutout.